Revenge stories are boring since there is very little you can do when a guy is obsessed with punishing a bunch of people. You might appreciate the methods he is using, but it certainly doesn't evolve characterization past the 2 dimensions. Avengers do not seek salvation, they don't expect forgiveness or a happy ending. They are self-destructive and turn away from catharsis. V for Vendetta is a rare case that mitigated this issue, with lots of social commentary turning the Punisher into an ideal besides a vigilante. 91 Days doesn't do any of that sort and remains throughout its course a straightforward revenge story of a guy trying to kill those who ruined his life. Although there is some effort placed in making it seem like he is using his brains by working from within the very organization he is trying to destroy, in the long run it's just a smokescreen for predictable assassination schemes. There are no twists, no themes explored, and not much introspection for its numerous characters. Although not enough, the setting is eye-popping since there are very few shows taking place during the Prohibition era of America. There is a lot of attention in recreating the feel of that time, but it's nowhere near as impressive as something like The Godfather movies. The rather low budget in animation is damaging, as the backgrounds are great, the music fits the tone, while characters in the foreground are often off-model or move in a weird way. The characterization is also hit or miss, since some in the cast are portrayed 3-dimensionally and act like real people, whereas some others amongst the gangsters are over-the-top cartoonish bad guys. It excuses why most of them are willing to backstab allies and bosses just so they can replace them, but it sure doesn't make them feel like anything more than throwaway greedy jerks. As for those who have a more subtle behavior, they suffer from not being memorable. Since very little is going on in a simple revenge story and they act like normal people, there is not much to take from a show that lasts only a dozen episodes, especially when most of them die very fast. Which is also a negative. Unlike most shows, there is no plot armor, since anyone can die at any moment, regardless of his importance to the story. The thing is, the way most of the characters die usually feels anticlimactic and even dumb, since none of them seem to be taking measures against getting shot. Sometimes it is excused since the protagonist is supposed to be their ally and thus keep their guards down, but to the most part most deaths are the result of plain stupidity, as they don't take any actual precautions every time they are about to do something very dangerous. It takes away a lot of the drama when you feel it could have been easily prevented if they were using their brains, especially after the murders become more often and should have made them more suspicious of their surroundings. It is immersion breaking when you watch it happen many times and so close to each other. Although 91 Days lacks supernatural elements and high schools, something the staggering amount of anime have regardless of the time period they take place in, it comes off as more dull than realistic, with a simple plot, a forgettable cast, and animation that leaves much to be desired. The average anime fan will easily recommend something absurd like Bacano over it, just because it is better produced and has far more eccentric characters. Who cares about realism when it bores you to sleep, right? Bottom line, it's not an awful show, but it certainly could have been way better.